I'm here on Wapping High Street, an area once part of London's thriving docks. At the dock gates, Sylvia regularly organised meetings and spoke to dockers about the vital issues of the day. After the 1917 Bolshevik Revolution, Britain and many other countries began shipping arms to Poland to arm the Bolsheviks' opponents and crush the Young Workers' Republic. Sylvia became a key organiser of the Hands Off Russia Committee and Councils of Action, both of which were set up from 1918 onwards to defend the fledgling Soviet state. In the Workers' Dreadnought, she produced articles lambasting British workers for collaborating with a murderous machine. In this edition, on May 8, 1920, she wrote, "To British manhood, comrades, how much longer will you be willing to fight, work and pay for the war which the British capitalists are making on the working people of other countries?" In the following week's edition of the Dreadnought, we read of her relief that at last British workers were showing some basic solidarity. This is the story of the Jolly George, a very real event that has gone down in history, and this is what she wrote. "Well done, London dockers. British workers waking up at last. On Monday, May 10th at 1 p.m, the shipping dockers in the East India Dock who were ordered to load the Jolly George, which was to carry munitions to Poland, struck work. They had only been working 20 minutes when they saw the guns coming down and declined to touch them. There can be no doubt that the refusal of Stepney dockers to load the Jolly George with arms for the White Army was a blow to the British government's attempts to crush the Russian Revolution. After this event, the British government changed their tack.
There are some buildings here. I can see a couple that might have been here when the Jolly George was loading, probably very close to this. The world has changed here. We're now in a situation where people had no understanding of what is meant by sacrifice for international solidarity. There are a number of campaigns where people want people in the rest of the world to be victims. And that's good in the sense that they will give money. What was happening in the Jolly George campaign was that people were not only giving money by not working, they were effectively giving solidarity because they said, your struggle is our struggle. We want to win, not because you are a victim and we want to give you some form of charity. We want to win because your struggle will help us in our struggle here. You could be cynical and say that the Jolly George incident, which people often talk about, is one of only a few examples of internationalism in the British working class, and people often cite this, and they also cite Lancashire cotton weavers refusing to touch cotton from the southern states in the American Civil War because they opposed slavery. And there aren't that many incidents, but you know, these things are symbolic and they also represent things which are bubbling underneath the surface. So that when dockers in Britain, like dockers in Bordeaux and like dockers in Italy, refused to move goods and even troops that were being sent, in this case, to the Polish front, it represents a huge step. Yeah, just think about it. They're saying, I prefer not to take any money rather than supporting my own country in a war of intervention against somewhere I've never been. Just think about it. That's a colossal step to take. And it really represents something which is a different mindset. It's the idea that their allegiance was potentially somewhere else. Not always, sometimes intermittently, yeah? Ordinary life intervenes, but at a time when the world appeared to be changing really quickly, and in a way they thought it was changing positively, they said no. And interestingly enough, they won, because British foreign policy, it may have been also for pragmatic reasons, was changed. The British government was so unconfident about its own position inside Britain. Let's remember this is in the aftermath of the First World War, when everybody said, why did we fight? For this? That they were forced to back down. They were forced to say, okay, we will recognise the Soviet Union, we will think about this, and we will take notice of your power.